This week on Supercars Torque, it's part one of my big Bathurst preview. Once again, it's Bathurst time of year, and this week I'm going to be doing part one of my preview. But first off, we do have some news this week. Jackson Evans has been confirmed alongside Jack Smith for Bathurst. That means the field is now complete with 2 weeks to go. And Barry Ryan has been reprimanded, whatever that means, for the altercation he had with Frosty in the pits down at Pukekohe. Frosty said he wasn't intimidated or felt threatened at all by Barry Ryan, but apparently you're not allowed to touch another person. So yeah, that's it. Probably a bit of a storm in a teacup. I mean, it just looked like Barry Ryan was trying to push him out of the way. He had asked for Frosty not to come down, although that message hadn't been relayed back to Mark. And Will Brown on the telecast did kind of call him out and say, I'd like to see him come down and apologise over the incident. There was no apologising happening. He just wanted to come in and have a bit of a chat about it, I guess. Some more news stories came out this week about Gen 3 cost blowouts, and once again on forums like Instabook, fans are up in arms over the costs and why can't we use GT3 cars as a cheaper alternative. This one keeps coming up, and surprisingly, GT3 cars, you're probably looking at a very similar, if not more cost to go and buy the cars outright. You have a minor accident in one of those cars and the whole thing's in the bin. There's no fixing it, and that you need to go and buy a new chassis from overseas. The upgrade kits are worth an arm and a leg. The whole thing with Gen 3 coming in, yes, the cars are definitely going to cost more than they originally intended, but the cars will run longer. With the fixed suspension and that on them, there won't be the development costs all the way through. That means you won't have to hand over hundreds of thousands of dollars every year to 888 to upgrade your suspension to keep up to date and things like that. It will just carry over year to year. The running costs are just going to be so much cheaper. So overall, it will make the series a lot cheaper, even though the initial cost of the cars is probably going to be somewhat similar to what the current cars are. Now, before I get on to running through the field for the 1000, I will remind you I am holding a Bathurst tipping competition once again this year, very similar to the previous years. One of the mugs will be the prize. I still have one of each of the ones left. I'll put a photo up there of what you can choose from. Pretty simple. Just put your predicted top three on the podium. Preferences will go to first in, best dressed if two people pick the same thing, and obviously then it will come down to what order you've put them in. Preference to the people who have all top three right. If you get them in the correct order, you've got a good chance of winning. But very simple, just down in the comments for your entry, and I'll be announcing that winner after Bathurst. And then pick which mug you want and I'll ship it out to you. Now for the big Bathurst preview, I'm going to go through each car in the field and basically what their chances are. This will be split into this week and next week. This week is what I am calling the pretenders. Essentially, these are the guys with no chance of winning the race. With, when you look at the top guys in the field, these guys haven't got a chance. And to kick it off, we will start with the Erebus wildcard, Greg Murphy and Richie Stanaway. Both have come out of retirement for this. Realistically, they're in good, it's not, I can't remember how Barry Ryan put it. It's not one of those joker cars from Walkinshaws or anything like that. But realistically, their aim would be to challenge the other wildcard charter car. They're not in with a realistic shot, but they are going to be awesome to watch, which leads me into the Matt Charter wildcard. Obviously, Matt Charter and Jalen Robotham will be joining them. Realistically, their challenge is to beat the Erebus wildcard. It's great that we've got these two wildcards in the field, but whether they're in the fight or not, they're going to be battling for 27th and 28th. Next up, from Tickford, we've got Jake Kostecki and Kurt Kostecki. These guys could spring a surprise. Kurt has obviously been impressive in the past. Jake has had his day every now and again this year, but realistically, it's very unlikely these guys are going to, pull a result. If they could get in the top 10, that would be amazing. Team Cool Drive, Tim Slade and Timmy Blanchard, the two Tims. If Mirko can find, obviously Mirko De Rosa, the lead engineer of the car, has been off for the last couple of months with a back injury. He will be back for Bathurst, and if he can find that form that they had earlier on in the year with Tim Slade, well, they could easily be a top 10 car, if not, top 5. Tim Slade has definitely shown a lot of pace in that car when it is on song, but going off the last few rounds, they've looked very lost. And Tim Blanchard as well, he's definitely not going to be one of the fastest co-drivers out there. He's been out of the seat for a very long time. Brad Jones Racing gets the next few mentions. Bryce Forward and Dean Fiore. Just no pace out of Bryce all year. Dean's been out of a seat for a very long time. He usually does a solid job at Bathurst, but he's definitely not one of the pace-setting co-drivers. Next up, we got Macaulay Jones and Jordan Boys. Could be interesting who's the quickest in this car. Even a top 20 would be good for this one. And then Jack Smith and Jackson Evans. As above, could the wildcards actually beat this car? Premier Racing, Chris Pither and Dylan O'Keefe. Will they be in front of the wildcards as well? Another one, could the co-driver be faster than the main driver? Then we've got from Grove Racing, Lee Holdsworth and Matt Payne. Will be interesting to see what kind of pace Matt can be at, considering he will be in this car full-time next year. Will he be as quick as Lee? Will he be one of the lead co-drivers? I'm not predicting too much from that car, actually. The Matt Stone Racing pair, Jack LeBrock and Aaron Seaton. Aaron's debut, and these guys, they were showing a lot of pace earlier on in the year, but it seems to be lost, so not holding up much hope for them. Probably the lead car this year, Todd Hazelwood and Jaden Ojeda. Ojeda's shown a lot of pace in the past, but he hasn't finished a race at Bathurst, I don't think, and that possibly even includes the Super 2 races. He's had a bit of an attraction to the walls up there. If he can keep it off the wall, though, I do predict that to be the lead Matt Stone racing car. If these guys, the way they've been going at the moment, if they can pop off a top 10, will be very impressive. Team 18, they get in this list because their Bathurst history has just been absolutely shocking. They seem to be on top of the power steering issues that they've had earlier on in the year, but I'm not holding my breath on them. They could be on the pace, but we've got in Marco Winterbottom and Michael Caruso. Very solid drivers, can do the job. Will they? No. And then Scott Pye and Tyler Reveringham. Tyler's doing a really good job in Super 2 and that, but when you look at the guys closer up the field that I'm going to look at next week, you can understand why these guys are down in this list. That's my Bathurst predictions of the pretenders. Next week I will have the contenders on the flip side, so definitely keep an eye out for that. And remember, down in the comments, your top 3 podium getters for Bathurst. The winner of that gets one of the mugs. I'll put a picture of them up there as well, so keep an eye out for that. And until next time, I'm still Dave, and I'll catch you later.